Today I'm going to show you all how to make this coffee and cocoa spice rubbed pork tenderloin with a pineapple rum chutney. Coffee rubbed pork tenderloin served with pineapple rum chutney is a delightful combination of flavors, blending the richness of the coffee rub with the sweetness and tanginess of the pineapple rum chutney. So for our pork, first we have to make our coffee and cocoa spice rub. So first we start off with some coffee. So this is some local coffee. They have tons of different flavors and different roasts. This one is a medium roast, but this one I like because it has chocolate notes and a lot of citrus notes. Because we're going for that kind of island flavor, I decided to go with this one. So in with some ground coffee, then some salt, then we go in with some black pepper, brown sugar, some sweetness of course, so paprika, smoked paprika. A little goes a long way. And then of course some cocoa powder. And another local product we love, thyme to lime. So for those of you here, this is Spanish thyme, what we call broadleaf thyme, with a little hint of lime in it as well. So again, I spoke about these citrus flavors we trying to lean on, give it that island flavor with the pineapple chutney. So we're using that. Now of course, if you have local broadleaf thyme, fresh broadleaf thyme, by all means go ahead and use it. But if you don't, this is an excellent alternative. All right, already smelling that cocoa powder, the coffee. Here we're using pork tenderloins. Of course, if your budget doesn't allow regular loins, even the shoulder is fine. It might just take a little longer to cook and the applications may just be slightly different. This was washed in water mixed with lime juice. Lemon juice is fine. That helps to cut the freshness from your pork. And then I just allowed all the excess liquid to drain off. So straight with the rub we go in and pouring this directly over our tenderloin. Now you want to be liberal with your seasoning here because you're going to lose a little bit in the marination and also with the searing, because we're going to be searing this off before we finish it off in the oven. You want to almost over season your tenderloin. And flip it on the next side. Go again. And you want to get intimate with your tenderloins here. Rub that marinade in. For best results, you could prepare your tenderloins the night before. Ideally, I would say anywhere from 6 to 8 hours. Just let it sit and marinate. Oh my God, I wish you always here to smell this cocoa powder and the coffee. Wow. All right, so we're gonna let this sit, and in the meantime, we're gonna move on to the pineapple chutney. Start with a medium-sized saucepan over low to medium heat. Once heated, we add in our olive oil, and as you see the olive oil dancing around like that, you know it's hot. So once that's heated, we go in with our diced red onions. Prefer the red onions or purple onion as opposed to the regular Spanish onion, as these onions tend to be a little sweeter. Next, some honey mixed with some white wine. Again, honey for sweetness and also depth of flavor. White wine for a little acidity and also the flavor. So you want to just see how you see any bubbles bubbling on the side. That's what you're aiming for. So we have the heat on medium, and you just want to monitor that. You don't want it to bubble up too much. Those bubbles are a little too big, so just drop any heat to low. You almost want your honey and white wine to cook your onions. Let that go for about 2 to 3 minutes before we add any pineapple. Alright, so as you can see the change in color of the onions. They've gone from a whiter, more translucent color. Also during that 2 to 3 minutes, the liquid mixture has reduced by about half, still simmering over a low heat. So now what we're going to do, we're going to add in our diced pineapple, and this is from a freshly ripened pineapple. Next we're going in with some mustard powder, cayenne powder, garam masala, ginger, all to add flavor, take your chutney to the next level. Alright, let me give that a little mix. Oh, I could already smell the garam masala. You want to evenly coat all your pineapple with the liquid mixture, mixing with all these seasonings and flavorings I just added. Right, and lastly, or at least lastly for now, we go in with some pimento. Now, of course, if you have access to fresh pimento, by all means use it, but today we're using this to show you all that there is dehydrated pimento on the market, people. Alright, so I just went in with about a tablespoon of that. So I'm just gonna incorporate that now. Now we're going in with some rum. In this instance, we're using our very own spice rum that we recently featured on Foodie Nation. So y'all can be sure to check out our recipe. Alright, so I just wanna press down the pineapple just to make sure we have as much submerged in the liquid as possible. We're gonna cover and we're gonna let this cook, allow the mixture to break down, allow the mixture and the heat to break down the pineapple, allow all your flavorings and ingredients to marry and come together, and allow the liquid mixture to thicken up. Ideally, you want it to reduce by half. Okay, so we'll check back in about 5 minutes or so. It's been about 5 minutes, so let's check the consistency. You can see the pineapple is starting to break down. Sauce is thickening up. So what I'm going to do now, just to help it out a bit, I'm going to leave it uncovered and let this sauce continue to reduce, because as I said, we want it to reduce by about half or even a little more, depending on how chunky you want your chutney. And you could even see like how the pineapple is absorbing the colors in the cayenne pepper, the garam masala, etc. So you're just going to continue. It's set on low. You want a low simmer, and this should probably need about 5 max 10 minutes again. Alright, so let's check our pineapple. So again, you can see it's gone from a bright yellow to a rich deep red, almost like a blood red, almost orange. So let's check to see the consistency. So you see most of the liquid has reduced. That is what we're looking for. That is what we're looking for. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to switch off, and we're just going to add in some freshly chopped parsley to take full advantage of its aroma, and a little salt for taste. Give that a mix. See the added color, the vibrancy that the freshly cut parsley brings as well too. That's what we want. Let this sit now and get started on the pork. Alright, so now it's time to sear off our pork tenderloins before we throw them in the oven. So here I have a 12-inch frying pan set over high heat. Added in some olive oil. Using this opportunity to check to see how hot the oil is. So you see how fast the oil is moving? That's a sign that your pan is very well heated. So let's go in. Our tenderloins, one at a time. And that's the sound you want to be hearing. Right, so at this point, you really have nothing to do but just apply a little patience and just leave it. Let the heat and the oil do its thing. Let it give the tenderloin that crust, that coffee, cocoa flavor crust, before we turn it over on this other side to do the same thing. We're just going to let this go, and when it's time to turn, I'll show you the signs to look for when you'll know when it's time to turn it. At this point, we're going to just turn it over and check it. And you can see it's firmed up a bit. But that's one sign. Alright, look at our crust. Oh yeah. That's what we want. Oh yeah. Alright, so we're just going to let it develop its crust on the other side. And then in this same pan, we're throwing it in the oven for it to finish cooking. Remember, it's pork tenderloin, so this isn't going to take more than 20 minutes max to cook. And when it's in the oven, I'll show you how to check for doneness. before we put it in the oven. You see that crust? That's what we want. So this one. Make sure you get it. That's what we want. Right, so I just want to spread them out a little bit on the pan. Switch off the heat. And we're going straight in the oven. Alright, time to check our pork. You can see. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, this is perfect. Now remember it's tenderloin, so we expect it to be a little bouncy in the middle. But that's okay because this will continue to cook when we leave it to stand and allow it to reabsorb its juices and allow the protein to rest. Yeah, so this is good to go. So we're just gonna rest this on a wire rack and let it cool before we slice. All right, so our tenderloin is rested. So now let's cut it. So we're gonna slice it on a 45. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The juice is still coming out of that. You still want the center a little pink because remember it's tenderloin. We don't wanna, the pork is already dead. We don't need to kill it a second time, yeah? So you're just gonna continue to slice them off and then we will plate them up. Alright, so I'll bring mommy to come and taste the pork with the pineapple rum chutney. So normally she's come and taste it, but we have other reasons because today she walked into the house and she asked, what did